What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Frankie J back again with another episode of the Fantasy Blitz Show, alright? So for this one, we're going to do a little recap of week one, alright? So let's start off with some of our top performers at each position. So let's start off with the QB position, alright? Coming in at QB1, we got Patty Mahomes. He scored 34.9 fantasy points. Now, I wish I played him in DFS, but it's all good. I do have him in one of my leagues, and he helped me win last week, so kudos to my man's Patty. Coming in at QB number 2, we got Josh Allen. Now, I know y'all saw that Thursday night game, that first game. Boy, he was killing it. I thought he was going to be QB1, but Patty Mahomes took that spot. Josh Allen scored 33.5, so he wasn't that far behind. Wasn't no 5 touchdowns, but definitely QB2. Coming in at QB3, we got Carson Wentz. Now, he scored 29.7. What the fuck? Now, during the offseason, I was talking like he can do something, and I think everybody's doubting him. In week one, he kind of showed it. Granted, it was against Jacksonville Jaguars, so let's temper our expectations, and let's see what he does next week. Coming in at QB number 4, we got Jalen Hurts. That boy is a beast with his legs, bro. When I watched that game, oh my God. He scored 24.7. Should have been more. I thought it would have been more, but I guess he didn't do too many passing touchdowns. So that's obviously going to put a damper on him, but still, QB number 4 of week 1, that's great. And then for our 5th QB, it's going to be Justin Herbert, coming in at QB5. He scored 23.3. Now, I've been saying this whole time, LA Chargers offense, I want all pieces of that, especially because of that man, Justin Herbert, to make it all possible for everybody. I think he's going to be, for next week, I think he's going to be another top 5 QB, especially going against Kansas City. It's going to be a shootout. I don't even know how I want to play that in a bet, on a parlay or anything, but I know it's going to be a shootout. So now let's go into our running back position, all right? Coming in at RB number 1, we've got Saquon Barkley. Boy, I wish I had more shares of him. I got him in like 2 leagues. I wish I should just got him in all leagues. But that boy came in with 30.4 fantasy points. That boy was balling. The Giants almost lost that, but they did win. They came out with a W. Can't even be mad at that. So good job, all you Giants fans. I know y'all happy. Coming in at running back number 2 is going to be Jonathan Taylor. We know what this guy is. We know he's going to score crazy. 25.5. He didn't score 30, but every dog has their day. So, Saquon, there goes your day. But Jonathan Taylor with 25.5. There's nothing else to talk about because we already know that man. Coming at running back number 3, we have DeAndre Swift. Boy, was I wrong about him. He came in with scoring 25 fantasy points. Now, when I say I was wrong, I was trying to stray away from him unless it literally like called me for it, like for me to pick him up during the draft. But none of those opportunities fell to me, which I was fine with because I wasn't trying to pick him up. But now I wish I did. After seeing that, whoo, that boy. Coming in at running back number 4, we got Cordero Patterson. I don't get it. He scored 21.1 fantasy points. All right. Once again, it is half PPR for all you guys are watching. I don't get it. I thought the Falcons were going to do a little something different, but I guess not. You know, I like Tyler Algier, but I guess they don't like him, or at least they don't think he's ready yet. But Cordell Patterson comes in and does what he did last year all over again. So that man, I might have to trade for him. Looking at his schedule, at this Falcons schedule, it might not be that bad. Especially watching them play against the Saints. Granted, they lost, but they were up. Up 17 points. That's the lack of defense, how they lost the game, but still, they were up. And then coming in at running back number 5, we got Kareem Hunt. Oh man, I was trying to tell everyone to stay away from this Browns offense, but that offensive line is ridiculous. Now, he scored 20.9 fantasy points. That boy didn't have crazy yardage, but he did have 2 touchdowns. So, Kareem Hunt coming in at RB5, kudos to him. I don't know if he still wants Saturday after that performance, but we'll see. Now let's get into our wide receiver positions. All right. Now for wide receiver 1 of week 1 was Justin Jefferson. Boy, let me tell you, that's a bad man right there. All right. Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson took that title away from you, bro. He's the bad man. Coming in with 34.9 fantasy points. Boy, the things I saw, I was like, what the fuck? You would have thought that was Cooper Kupp, but blacker and fucking taller. Like, shit. He was balling, man. I don't have him in any of my leagues. Regret that highly, but only week 1. We'll see how that goes. Coming in at wide receiver number 2, we've got Cooper Kupp. You already know who that man is. Came in with 25.3 fantasy points. So, he was balling. Granted, the Rams didn't look so good. Might have been more of Matt Stafford or good play on defense by Buffalo, but that game was harsh. But Cooper Kupp still got it done with 25.3 fantasy points, so can't complain there. Coming in at wide receiver number 3, we've got Devontae Adams. Man, not everybody, most of the people that I've talked to about this guy, they were like not so happy with him going to Vegas, saying that his number's not going to be as much as it was because he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. So I get that, but Derek Carr and him are like this, boy. They're boys. Like, they go way back, like full flats on the Cadillac, like that back, bro. And proved it week 1. They lost, but Derek Carr made sure Devontae Adams got that ball, especially that touchdown he needed. He made sure he forced it in there, and you should have saw that catch. Beautiful. Coming out, wide receiver 4, we've got Jamar Chase. Kept him in one of my leagues as a keeper. I won that week, so can't complain. He had 23.9. Rough game for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know what it is. Everybody was saying about how that offensive line has been fortified or is a lot better than it was. I couldn't tell the difference. The man had what? Joe Burrow had He got sacked like 6 times, 7 times? Like, wow. And you're going to tell me that offensive line got better? Where? Bitch, where? Like, that doesn't even make sense. But still, Jamar Chase was able to get the ball, 23.9 fantasy points. Wide receiver 4, great. And for our last wide receiver, coming in wide receiver 5, is going to be Michael Pittman. That boy, we all knew that was going to happen. Matt Ryan, all he needed was a better QB. Pittman needed a better QB, and he got it in with Matt Ryan. That was a rough game for them. I don't know what they were on. Slow start, end up coming back. If that game ended in a tie, I would have laughed my ass off, honestly. So, I don't know what to say to that. But Michael Pittman, wide receiver number 5, 22.6 fantasy points. So, kudos to him. Now on to our tight end positions, all right? For our tight end 1 of week 1 is going to be Travis Kelce. People were like, oh, Kelce, he's done this so long. He's due to a decline. No Tyreek Hill to open up the field for him. Bullshit. My man had 22.1 fantasy points. Wow. 22.1 fantasy points from a tight end. All right? He did better than what? The bottom 5, like, so 6 through 7 wide receivers. He outscored all of them. Like, that's from a tight end position. Now, I upset I didn't get him, but still, Kelce is still that dude. Coming in at tight end number 2 would be O.J. Howard. Who? The man wasn't even on the team the week prior to last week. Wasn't even on the team yet. And comes into the game. Granted, he only had 2 catches, but both those catches were touchdowns. Like, wow. And that's the reason why he's tight end number 2. He had 16.8 fantasy points. Obviously, touchdowns is the reason why he even scored that high. He had 2 of them. So, is that something that we're going to see often? I doubt that. But it's not a bad sign that they're probably going to give him the ball. So, be on the lookout for O.J. Howard. Coming in at tight end number 3, we've got Taysom Hill. another what the fuck, bro. Taysom Hill? I thought he was playing QB. Now they put him at tight end, and he's balling out wherever they put him. He had 14.8 fantasy points. Like, that man broke out some big runs over there. Part of the reason why they even came back and beat Atlanta, Taysom Hill. Yo, good shit, my boy. All right, coming in at tight end, number 4, we got Gerald Everett. Now, Gerald Everett had 12.9 fantasy points, all right? He did have a touchdown. He was targeted about like 4 or 5 times, I want to say. Now, with Keenan Allen down, Everett might have like a good role in that offense, and that's definitely an offense I want a piece of. So check out Everett. And at the last top 5 tight end, we got tight end number 5, Will Dissly. Now, Geno Smith was the Broncos were sleeping like the first half. They were sleeping. I don't know what was happening. They let Geno Smith do all this shit to him. I don't know. I don't know why or what. But Will Dissly had a touchdown, had 11.8 fantasy points. I'm not saying that's something we're going to see often, but it definitely put him at tight end number 5 this week. So, Will Dissly, Geno Smith, all right, you got that. Now we're going to go to our defense, all right? So our top 5 defenses, we had Pittsburgh with 26. We had Miami with 18. We had Buffalo with 17. We had LA Chargers with 13. And Tampa Bay with 13. Now, Miami is the biggest shocker, all right? Defense number 2 of week 1, all right? 18 points. I can't say it's a huge shocker because we didn't know what New England Patriots offense is going to look like, but they looked like shit. Now, I don't know if that's on behalf of Miami's defensive play or they just look like shit because they don't have nobody calling offensive plays. I don't know, but 18 points. Man, that was a rough one for Mac Jones and the boys over there in New England. But for the most part, the rest of the defensive top 5s, pretty much valid defenses. Like Pittsburgh, 26. Dude, they've picked him off 4 times. Joe Burrow got picked 4 times. Minka Fitzpatrick and that boy Sutton. Oh, man, they were having a field day with his ass. That was horrible. But 26 points. If you have Pittsburgh defense, you definitely got the dub that week. All right, and then we're going to go to the kickers. All right, so for the kickers, 1 through 5, first we've got Young Ho. We had York from, I don't even remember his name. He was kicker number 2. I don't even know who that is. Kicker number 3, we got Ryan Suckup. 4, we've got Chris Boswell. And 5, we've got Greg Joseph. All right? So, Young Ho had 19. Now, I can't say that's crazy because we know he's got a leg. But that's what helped Atlanta stay in that game. But eventually, they end up losing. But Young Ho kicking all those field goals definitely is the reason why. So, a bunch of these kickers not to go crazy about. So, but if you're looking for a stream kicker, definitely check out Young Ho, Greg Joseph, and Suckup. Definitely check those guys out if you guys are streaming like kickers or anything, all right? Now, let's talk about some of the players after week 1's performances that are on my radar now, all right? I have 6 players here. These guys definitely on my radar now. Some of them I might have, some of them I don't. Some of them I might be looking into trying to snag from a trade or even when I'm building DFS lineups. Definitely trying to do that with maybe one of these guys. So for the first one, we've got Kareem Hunt. All right? So Kareem Hunt scored 20.9 fantasy points. As I said, he was the running back 5 of week 1. So man had 2 touchdowns. He had 11 rushes. So he was pretty involved in that backfield. He did get targeted 4 times. And he had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Okay? So, he's getting involved in that offense. All in all, he had about 15 touches, which is pretty good. Pretty good, especially if you make it out into having a field day and score 20 fantasy points. Yeah. he's got that one. RB5. So he's definitely on my radar. DFS comes. If I have the money to put together for him, I might just do it. For my second pick on my radar, I have Miles Sanders. All right, now, I think it was a fluke. I don't want to say a fluke, but the way he played, I don't see that happening again, especially not next week. But how often is that going to happen? I feel like maybe all season he probably might have like 3 of these type games. The rest is just going to be like shit show games. So don't be too high on him, but he's still on my radar only because those games, depending on matchups, Miles Sanders can actually ball. All right, he finished as RB11. He had 17.5 fantasy points. Okay, so RB11, so right outside the top 10. So that's not bad. He did have 13 rushes. He had 96 yards and a rushing touchdown. All right, so like that was a pretty great day for him. You know. Granted, Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott both had touchdowns also. So it's still that by that committee feel over there for that backfield in Philly. So like I said, temper your expectations with this guy. But when it comes to matchups, I feel like you got to plug him in. You have to. So for another pick I have on my radar is going to be A.J. Brown. That boy, man, I could not believe this man tore up the field like this. He had 20.5 fantasy points, all right? That put him at wide receiver 7, okay? So he was top 10 this week. So he definitely balled out. He had 13 targets, caught 10 of them for 155 yards. Boy, if you saw that game or even just caught highlights, he was just tearing it up. Like every other play was to A.J. Brown, and they could not stop him. They could not stop him. So A.J. Brown, definitely on my radar. Definitely going to play him in DFS lineups. Might see what I could do to try to get a trade for him, honestly, because that man is actually a monster. For my fourth pick on my radar, I have Jerry Jeudy. Now, I have him in one league, which is my Big Bash league. I have told you guys about it prior episodes ago about. I won the Cortland Sutton, but I got stuck with Jerry Jeudy. And I'm not saying I got stuck as if it was a bad thing, but just more of you want one player, but you have to settle for the other one. So I kind of settled, but then yesterday he made me shut up. I can't say yesterday. Monday night, he made me shut up. The boy had 18.2 fantasy points. He finished as wide receiver 11. Now, that means he finished right outside the top 10, but that means he did great. That if he maybe had another catch, or something, that would have definitely put him in right there in top 10. He was targeted 7 times, 4 catches, and he had 102 yards with a touchdown. Like, yeah, that boy was balling off of only 4 catches, 102 yards, and a tutty. Bro, that just says, I don't know what Sutton's doing, but granted, Sutton actually had the same amount of targets, same amount of catches as Jerry Jeudy did. So don't get him fucked up and think that oh no, Jerry Jeudy's number one. No, they're both targeted the same, both caught the same. So it's still gonna be split back there with them. But Jerry Jeudy, I kind of now I don't even regret the fact that I didn't get Cortland Sutton. So kudos to my mans. For another one on my radar, I have Julio Jones. Now, this guy I have in 2-3 of my leagues. I just I had to. He's a veteran, and you know how veterans work with Tom Brady. Somehow they always have a comeback year as if they were gone, but they weren't. So, but the man had 10.1 fantasy points. Not a crazy day. He was ended up being a wide receiver 32. So like I said, once again, not a crazy day. 5 targets, 3 catches for 69 yards. Now, why I'm speaking about him and being on my radar is because now Chris Godwin got hurt again. So what does that mean? Opening up that field for him, or has him definitely be the wide receiver 2 without a question of a doubt. Not at all. There's no Godwin. Julio, you're number 2. So watch him next week. They play New Orleans. Watch what he does. And for my last pick on my radar would be Hayden Hurst, tight end, okay? So he scored 7.1, not a crazy day. Tight end 14. He was targeted 8 times, caught 5 of them, and had 46 yards. Now, like I said, not a big game, but T. Higgins, concussion protocol. The man got targeted 8 times, even with T. Higgins that was on the field too, whenever he got off the field with his injury. But was targeted 8 times. So that means he's part of this offense. If Burrow's looking at him for 8 times, that means part of the offense. Now, granted, you may say, oh, because he's getting rushed all the time, because the offensive line ain't what they thought it was supposed to be. Regardless, he's still getting targeted. So if that offensive line is still playing like that, that means he's going to have to do some dump offs. He's going to have to try to look at the tight end because his number one reach is going to be too far out or incomplete with their routes for him just to throw it. So Hayden Hurst, definitely on my radar. I have him in one league. 7.1 from your tight end. I don't think you can ask too much. I mean, I think like 7 on average for a tight end is a great game. All right? It's tight ends. You know they're hard to come by, but if you can just get 7 points from your tight end, I think you'll be good. All right, so that's all I have for you guys for our week 1 recap. Once again, I appreciate you guys showing me love. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All right? It's your boy Frankie J. Fantasy Blitz Show. We out. Peace.